Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Nova Gnome Creations and I'm Nova, and I'm so glad you decided to join me this morning. I hope everybody had a good night and slept well. It is Thursday, so we've almost made it through this week, and it was a short week if you had Labor Day off, so that is always awesome. It makes the end of the week just come so much quicker. Today I am drinking cinnamon creamer in caramel coffee, and I'm drinking out of my Chubby Unicorn mug again. And I got my granny square cozy that I made the other day. I haven't made another one yet, but several of you actually had a good point, and this is like full up to here, so I gotta be careful putting this on. Several of you had a good point asking if this like gets at your mouth while you're drinking it because it goes up to the rim. I actually, by the time I finished making it that day, I'd already finished my coffee, and I just haven't actually gotten it back out. I kind of tossed it in my project bag and haven't used it. So as promised, I thought I would go ahead and try it out for you guys. So it goes up to like here. This is where it sits naturally. Okay, so it is drinkable at this level. However, I find myself wanting to kind of pull it down. So I think that you guys were right. You had a good point. I do think you might want to, like, I don't know if you'd want to go down a whole round. I'd have to play with it, but you might want to go down a round. I'm not exactly sure. Either that or not put the single crochet border along the top. Maybe just do it along the open part and not the top. Because if that ended a little bit sooner, I don't think it would be quite as like trying to get on your lip while you're drinking. And like you don't want to get coffee on it, you know. But yeah, so either you would want to adjust it a little bit, or you're just going to want to pull it down a little bit when you're taking a drink, which really isn't a big deal. So there is that little info, because several of you asked, and I was like, I haven't actually drank with it on there yet. So I was this morning thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I'll just do it on my video, and then everybody can actually see in action what my thoughts are on that. So this morning I am coming on here with a finished item, which is Jigglypuff, but then also I have a process to do because I want to make a microphone for Jigglypuff. So I'm trying to kind of assort my clutter here. So first I want to show you how Jigglypuff came out. I am so happy with it. It came out so cute. All right, let me grab the book real quick. All right. I wanted to grab the book to show you. So if you didn't see this video, I made a video about this crochet book, and it is the Pokemon Crochet by Sabrina Summers, and you can find this on Amazon. I will link it in the description. But I was making this Jigglypuff, but I was making it out of chenille yarn, or Parfait Chunky is actually the brand that I was using. See if I can kind of hold this up and then hold this up too, so you can see how mine came out. My cat just jumped up over there. Hopefully he doesn't come over here right now. I have so much stuff on my desk. Okay, there we go. So this is the Jigglypuff from this Pokemon Crochet. Bring your favorite Pokemon to life with 20 cute crochet patterns. And made out of Parfait Chunky in the shade of Cotton Candy. So I thought I would just show it to you guys kind of side by side with the pattern book, so you could see the difference with using like this type of yarn versus like a worsted weight. But I'm really happy with that. I think it came out so cute. And I played around with the mouth a little bit. I did try cutting out felt. I actually still have the felt on my desk somewhere. One moment. There we go. So I did try cutting out felt for the mouth because if Jigglypuff's mouth is open, this is kind of what it looks like. Let's see if it'll kind of stick on there. And I thought about doing that, but I just was like, I don't know. Maybe I should have made it like a little bit longer, like a bit of an elongated smile. But yeah, so I ended up just doing that, which is what they did in the pattern book also. And Jigglypuff does also, when their mouth is closed, it does like make the black line. Lincoln, get down. Link. Link. Lincoln. I have a fake plant over there, and he really likes to chew on things like that, and he has just discovered it. Okay. I am back. Sorry about that. He was not going to get down without me, like, reminding him that he is not allowed to eat a plant. So anyway, that is how Jigglypuff came out. And I looked up pictures of Jigglypuff to kind of decide on how I wanted to do the final features. Like the mouth and the eyes, and actually the arm placement, because the arm placement in the book was like this, like kind of forward, and I just wanted to like see how Jigglypuff's arm placement was to make sure I put them in the right spot. And they are forward like this for Jigglypuff. So I'm gonna insert some pictures of Jigglypuff from the anime or the TV show. Anime is just what they're called. It's a Japanese cartoon, and Japanese cartoons are called anime. But anyway, the only thing that I did differently was I did felt for the black on the ears, because I didn't have black yarn in this type of yarn, and I was like, well, if I do it in worsted weight yarn, which is fine, it's still going to be different than the body, and I was like, I might as well just do felt. So here's a little bit of a 360 view for you of how Jigglypuff came out. Very soft and very plushy. And I'm going to pop up some pictures on the screen while I talk about it. But the thing that I'm going to be coming up with today for Jigglypuff is Jigglypuff holds a microphone because Jigglypuff loves to sing. And it always uses its microphone when it sings. But it always puts people to sleep. So anytime it wants to sing to people with its beautiful song, it puts people to sleep. And it gets angry. And when it gets angry, it pops the top off of its microphone, and it's actually a marker, like a Sharpie. And it doodles all over everyone's faces who fell asleep. And so I feel like I gotta make like the iconic microphone, you know? So I'm gonna walk you through the process as I come up with it, of like how you come up with something that you don't have a pattern for. And it's a pretty simple thing, so I thought this would be a good, like a good way to, I don't know, walk you guys along the process with me. So I don't have a pattern for it, and the first thing I'm gonna do is come up with a design of what I want, and then I'm going to try to come up with the size that I want. So I thought that I would take you guys along with me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got out a piece of paper, and I'm going to mock up just a very simplified drawing of what I want the microphone to look like and about the size I think I want it to be. And I'm going to probably cut it out and kind of stick it like on, like as if it was holding it, to make sure that's the size that I want. And then I'll go from there with coming up with a pattern for it. So, I'm sorry guys, my desk is like, I put a lot of stuff up here to show you guys. So I've got like the book, and I've got my paper, and I picked out my yarn for this already, so I'm going to show you that too. So I'm going to be using this color for the microphone microphone foam top part. And this is dark teal from Big Twist. I really need more of this. I'm using this for my blanket, my mandala blanket also. Mainstay, oh, and that, yeah, Big Twist, I already said that. This one is Mainstay's yarn, just their 100% acrylic. And it is in the shade, it's just gray. So this is in the shade gray, and that's going to be for like the base of the microphone and like the little band on the microphone. There's like a band in a couple spots that are gray. And then I love this yarn, and I believe this is just black. Yep, black. So I'm using just 3 colors for this, and we can go ahead and just jump into it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is just grab a pencil and a piece of paper, and I'm going to kind of come up with what I'm making. So this is a pretty simple thing to make, and it pretty much translates exactly into what I would crochet. I don't have to try to simplify it or modify it to be crochetable. So basically we're going to be doing, let me make sure I'm in screen. We're going to be doing like a cylinder. And you definitely do not have to be an artist by any means for this. And the bottom is going to be that gray yarn. So just kind of to signify the gray yarn. And then the top is going to have a gray band or silver. But I think I'm going to do gray. I actually do have silver yarn, but I think it might be a 3-weight, so. And then the top is like a dark teal color, and it's kind of that traditional like top of the microphone kind of plushy, probably made of foam type of material. And it's about like not half the length of this, but like pretty close in size. Kind of want that to poof out a little bit more. And then it just kind of has that, and then it sort of rounds off at the top. So this is the gist of what we're going to be making, and this is going to be black. And this is going to be teal. And then these are going to be gray. And then now that I have that figured out, I want to make a piece that I can kind of size test, and actually this might be the right size because it is not a very big microphone considering that it's a marker. Oh, which actually reminds me, I want the top of this to be removable. And I want it to look like a marker underneath. So underneath of this, we're probably going to want to do some kind of a like, oh, is there cone? I was like a cylindrical triangle. I was like, I know there's a word for it. Probably going to want to do like a cone shape. Maybe a little bit bigger than that, but roughly about that size. And then possibly maybe a little nub to kind of stick onto the end of that to look like a marker. Okay, so what I did was I just actually held this up in front of my Jigglypuff, kind of putting it on the hand. And I think that this is roughly the size that I want. And it's also just a sketch, so it's not like this is actually the size that it'll necessarily come out, but I want to try to aim for this size. So the next thing I need to do is kind of work up what my shapes, my general shapes are going to be like. So I'm thinking for this, I'm going to start out with a magic circle. And I can write this somewhere. Now this is just a rough draft. As I'm doing it, I'll come up with exactly what I need to do. But I'm thinking I'll start out with a magic circle and 6 single crochets. And because this is actually going to be so small, like I'm showing you, this is how big this is compared to a pen or a pencil. So it really doesn't need to be very big at all. I'm thinking I'll do 6 single crochets and then I'll attempt to immediately do back loop only 6 single crochets off of that. I'm not sure how that'll work, but I'll try it out and see. And the back loop only is going to give me this cupping, like where it starts to face up, that I want. And then it'll literally just be continuously single crocheting around. Oops. And I would work it in a spiral. So I would just go around until I get the height that I want. And obviously I'm going to have color changes in here also. But with how like small this is, I might just try working it up in a solid color until I get the shape exactly like I want, and then go ahead and work it up with the color changes. So I'll probably, when I switch to back loop only, I'll probably do the gray, and then I'll do a row of gray when I get closer to the top. But I'm thinking that that'll be the general shape for that. And then for this piece, I'm thinking that it's gonna be, I'll probably work it from the bottom. And I think that I will do a magic circle. I always just kind of default to 6 single crochets unless I do that and I feel like I want to do smaller or something. Sometimes I do 4, but I think 6 because I don't want it to cup too much. And if I do a really small magic circle, it might almost look a little bit pointed. But I do want it to kind of come to like a soft point, so we'll see. But I'm thinking I'll do a magic circle, and then I will start to I want to softly increase because I want it to I don't want it to be flat, but I want it to kind of start to round up. So I'm not going to do back loop onlys. But I'm going to start to softly increase it until I get to this point where I want to just do single crochets around and keep the width that I'm at. I'm thinking that this won't take too much. I'll kind of need to mess with it and see what I need to do here. But when I get to this part, it'll just be single crochets down, and then when I get to this part, I'll do a little bit of decreasing, and I'm thinking I'll leave the bottom open on that. I won't stuff it so that it can cap over this cone. Man, I just cannot think of the word cone today. So I'm going to go ahead and start with making this, and once I get this part figured out, I'll worry more about the rest of it. All right, so I'm just going to use this gray yarn to work up this mock one and see how that sizing is working. So I'm just going to make my magic circle and do my 6 single crochets in there. There's 3, 4, 5, Oops. And 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the part I'm not 100% sure about, is going straight into back loop only, but I do want it to be a small bottom. I think I might slip stitch first. Oops. And then do back loop only single crochets. And we'll see how that works out. So there's 1, 2, 3. I've never done back loop only right off of the magic ring before, so I'm not 100% sure how that will look, how that'll work out. 5. Ah, my nail got caught. And 6. So I think the thing that I'm going to have to try to do is to get it to start flipping upwards. And I want to make sure this magic ring is pulled nice and tight before I start going up, because I will not be able to get back to that. And then just to make that a little extra secure, I'm going to go ahead and throw a knot in here. You guys will have to let me know what you think of this type of video. I thought that it might be interesting to take you along on like the coming up with process and seeing how that is. All right. And then I'm thinking just single crocheting, repeating around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just wanted to see where my first stitch was, because it can look a little bit confusing right now. I'm trying to make sure that it's cupped right before I do that. And hopefully I'm picking up the... It's difficult to work with it being so small, and then also having done a front and back loop only already. You know what? I'm just going to throw that in there just like this. We'll see if it works. So there's 1. I'm going to be working in a spiral. I don't need a stitch marker yet. 2. No idea why I'm counting my stitches for a spiral, but 3. I want to make sure I grab every stitch, actually, is why. Since it does look a little weird right now with it all being kind of clumped up together, having gone into that back loop only already. Five and 6. This is looking... It's looking all right. It's looking like we got it. All right, and I will probably like speed this up or something for you guys so that you don't have to sit here for 7,000 years while I just throw single crochets around in a spiral. Okay, so that's about the length that I have it over there. And I'm just going to test this in Jigglypuff's hand. Yeah, that works. I honestly could probably even do it a little bit wider than I did, but now I just got to try to sit Jigglypuff back down. There we go. I could probably do it even a little bit wider than I did, but I just know that adding another round will actually increase the width quite a bit if I had done a round before I did the back loop only. So that was why I did it the way that I did it. And I think that the size does work well for that. So to finish off this piece, I think I will do a round of slip stitches. So let's see how that looks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. I was making sure that the camera was focused because I realized I hadn't actually checked. And then I accidentally slipped that off, which it's not really focused, so there you go. All right, so I just ended that with a row of slip stitches to see how I like that. I think that looks pretty good. So this was kind of just my mock piece, not my actual one, because it's not the color I want it to be right, but it is. I probably went one round too many technically, but you know, based on my drawing, but I am happy with that. I think it's very, very close and kind of the shape I wanted. Try to slide this into frame a little bit more for you guys. So here is the shape that we're working with, and I don't even think I'll stuff it because it's basically stuffed already because of how small it is. So I'm thinking for this top piece, I'll just go a little bit bigger, 1 or 2 rounds bigger at the top than this to make sure that it can kind of cup over it. But when I do this, I think that that gives us 9. Basic math. I am not good at math. I hate math. But like I said in a different video, I think I was tricked into doing math. I think crochet tricked me. So this only has a circumference of 6 stitches because I only went up to 6 stitches. So this will at the very minimum be 9 stitches, but more than likely I will most likely do another row of increasing before I get to just single crocheting down the sides, so it'll actually be even bigger. I want it to fit over it, but I don't want it to be like so big that it doesn't stay on. I want it to fit kind of snug. So I don't know about that row yet. It'll just depend when I get to it. I'll probably do like a width test when I get to this point before I get down to here. But yeah, and I'm not 100% sure on this yet because that's going to be very, very small. I'm thinking I will probably start at the base of it. I'll probably start with chaining 6 and slip stitching those together to get about the same size as this has, because it'll be a cylinder shape, or like a circumference of 6, and then just start decreasing my way down. And I'll have to see like how steep it is, but more than likely something along these lines. What would that give me? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I'm kind of out of room, but possibly that might not be steep enough. I'll just have to see when I get to it, and I'll adjust accordingly. But getting down until the end where I am just at the tip, and then I actually think that this will probably just be a chain, and then go back in and connect it again. But yeah, so this is what I'm thinking so far. Okay, so I went ahead and worked up the microphone handle, and I realized something, and I wonder if any of you guys realized it while you were watching me in my planning phase. But I overcomplicated this for myself just a smidge when I was talking about doing this, because I can just continue up with the black and do that. So I went ahead and came back for that part. I was trying to give it this look like it has here in my sketch. I'm always like do I call this a sketch? I'm not a sketch. Like, I am not an artist, and I feel like I can't call it a sketch. But it is a sketch, so I was trying to do it like this, and believe it or not, this is just my magic circle. And then I did back loop only when I switched to the gray, and then I did back loop only again so that I could kind of get this ridge to it with this line. But it's funny because it made like a whole little cap down here, and that's literally just my magic circle. So there's nothing I could have done to make that smaller. Well, no, there is. I could have worked up the bottom separately and then kind of stuck it inside, but I'm okay with it like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. So what I did was I ended up just doing a magic circle, and then back loop only in the gray, and then back loop only in the black, and then I just did single crochet around a few times, and then I did I switched to gray, and I did 6 single crochets, and then I switched back. Oops, I'm on the edge of my book here. I switched back to black, and I did back loop only. Did I do single crochets? I think I did single crochets, yeah. I did back loop only single crochets. And I'm just going to put a little squiggle here because I don't know how many times I went around. It was just until I got to the length I wanted. So now I see that I'm being silly about this, and this doesn't need to be worked up in a separate piece because I already have 6 single crochets going around right now. So I'm going to slip stitch to start this. So let me count my black stitches that are hard to see. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I thought that was the first stitch, but I just wanted to make sure. When you're working with something so small, sometimes it's difficult to tell. Okay, so I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to try out. I don't feel like this is going to work. I think I'm going to want to do. Let me erase that. I don't want it to be lopsided because I'm trying to get a cone shape, and if I don't decrease evenly. I'm afraid it's going to come out lopsided. I'm going to try doing a single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. So that should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. So let's try that and see what we look like. Oh wow, why is that so unfocused? Sorry about that. Single crochet. And then I'm like blindly trying to grab that outer loop for a decrease. It's so difficult with black yarn. I really need a neck light or something. I keep talking about getting one, but and then I never do when I have money. But I need to do that. So I did manage to get that. There's my decrease. And I know it's going to start kind of pointing upwards as I do this because it's so narrow. It's going to kind of elongate itself, I bet. So there's a single crochet and then one more decrease. Should put us back to the beginning. There's one loop. I'm doing invisible decreases, so it's just the front loop only on both of those single crochets. Oh my goodness. I am getting a little bit splitty. My yarn is splitting a little bit. Okay, so that's what that looks like. I don't know if I like that. I don't like that. I'm going to take that out. Okay, so one decrease out, one single crochet, one decrease, and one single crochet. Then it looks like my slip stitch is trying to come out too. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out too so I can get a better piece of yarn to go back on my hook. Okay, so if I could get this piece of yarn back on my hook. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and do this last stitch again. I actually think that I pulled out a single crochet there too. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and tie off because I'm not going to like that, the way that that's going to look. I'm going to have to think about what I want to do. I have a feeling it's going to give me a wonky shape, and this is what I was saying when I was looking at this, is I have a feeling it's going to give me a wonky shape because it's just so narrow that there's not really room to do decreases without it kind of altering the shape. But I might be able just to do a felt, like make a little cone out of felt and glue that on. So that could definitely work. Okay, I don't need all of this. I already have all of my yarn tails previously in there, up to this point stuffed in, and I've just been doing that just to give it a little bit more shape. But like I said before, it doesn't really need stuffed because it's already got a shape with how narrow it is. So I'm going to think for a minute, and I'm going to come back and see what I want to do for this top part of this. But I'm thinking I might do a felt cone shape. Okay, so I went ahead and I got a piece of felt kind of cut up and like shaped in a way that I think will work. It looks a little funky right now, but I'm heating up my hot glue gun, and then I will see about attaching that. And I actually have an idea for the tip of it, since I kind of wanted it to look like a marker tip. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a dot of hot glue at the top, and then once it dries, I'll Sharpie it black, but I don't know yet about that. But in the meantime, while I wait on my hot glue gun to heat up, because that'll take a little while, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the microphone cap. I tried to grab everything but my crochet hook to start this. I literally tried to grab my scissors, and then I tried to grab the little stick that I was using to stuff things with. So that's how I'm doing. So I'm just putting 6 single crochets into a magic circle. I'm at 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm gonna try out doing a single crochet and an increase repeating around and see how that works. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think that's cupping up actually just perfectly. I'm gonna go ahead and do a single crochet increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what I'm doing is I'm just counting the stitches that I know are in that row. So like I know there are 9 stitches right now after increasing the single crochet increase row. So I was just keeping track of knowing I did 9 stitches, but I did single crochet increase. So a total of 3 increases. And then I think that I'll probably be good to single crochet around at this point. So I'm flipping it the right side out. I'm gonna do a couple rounds of single crochets, and then I'm gonna test how much bigger than my stick why do I keep wanting to call everything the stick? The handle of the microphone, that is. Now I will come down and decrease when I get to the end, so it won't stay this wide, but I just want to see how much wider it is, you know, at the part where it's just going around, to make sure that it doesn't look silly. So there's about the width that it's going to be when I'm going around. So I think that'll be good. So I'm just going to do some rounds going around here, and then I will do some decreases, and then I'm going to see how that fits, if it fits nicely, and then hopefully by that point my hot glue gun will be heated up and I can go ahead and attach the felt tip to my marker, and then hopefully I'll have this figured out and it can just slide, it'll just slide right on and stay in place on its own, and then that'll be our microphone. So this is the process that I go through when I'm coming up with something I don't have a pattern for. So let me know if it looks like your process. I'm really honestly curious because I don't really know anyone else that crochets in person. You guys are my crochet community, my crochet friends, and so I have no idea what the process typically looks like for coming up with something from scratch without a pattern, but this is just how I've been doing it. And I thought it would be an interesting thing to share and kind of see what you guys think, if it's like similar to what you do or if it's like totally different than what you do. And also I thought it might be interesting to everyone who doesn't do it this way, so, or doesn't do it at all even. But yeah, just looking at how long this is, I'm probably getting to about the point where I should start decreasing. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start decreasing on this. So after doing, I had 9 stitches, and so I did this 3 times. That would be 4 stitches, 8, 12. So I did 12 stitches on my last round, and then I just continued that down. So that's how many stitches around we are right now that I need to decrease from. So I'll start with just kind of reversing what I did to start, I think. Do I want it to be as rounded? Let me switch back over to my picture. I have Jigglypuff on Google pulled up so that I could see what the microphone looks like. Yeah, it's pretty much the same at the top and the bottom. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll try out doing the same thing that I did to start. So I'm going to try out doing 2 single crochets and a decrease, and then 1 single crochet and a decrease, and then hopefully that will cup up nicely around that, because that'll have me ending with 6 stitches. Sorry for the extremely sloppy handwriting, by the way. All right, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna use a stitch marker actually at this point, just so that I don't have to keep count as much, because I have 12 stitches right now and I'm doing decreases. So oh, you know, I should probably trim this, since I'm not stuffing this. I don't want this really long core or tail hanging out. All right, so we're doing, this was our first stitch. Was that our first stitch? It doesn't really matter. Okay, so single crochet, single crochet. Hopefully that's focused nicely for you guys. And a decrease if my fibers don't want to split up on me. All right, there's our first set. Single crochet, single crochet, and a decrease. There's our second set. Single crochet, single crochet. Oh my gosh, why do I keep trying to poke through to the other side and grab those random stitches? And a decrease, and that's our third set. And then I'm gonna do a single crochet and a decrease around this time. We'll see how that's looking. There was my single crochet, and then decrease. Single crochet. And I'm catching more than I want. There we go. Decrease. And then one more set of a single crochet and a decrease. And hopefully this is perfectly sized to cap on, because that should give us 6 stitches. Oops, I'm moving my little layout thing here. There we go. Let's see how that fits in there. Kind of open up the opening of this a little bit. It's looking a little narrow. All right, so we're gonna want to, that last row is 9 stitches. So I'm gonna pull this out, decrease. So it's 2 stitches out, then the single crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I went ahead and pulled out that last row because that was looking too narrow, and I'm just gonna see. Oh, I'm using the wrong end. Oh, you know what? I think that works pretty perfectly. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do a slip stitch row just to make that look a little bit nicer if it doesn't narrow it down too much. So let's just try doing 9 slip stitches and see how that works. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can smell my hot glue gun heating up, so it's getting there. Hopefully I wasn't out of camera or out of your view that whole time. And 9. Let's try that and see how that fits. So I think that this fits perfectly. It's just that this is very, 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 very squishy. So it's like difficult to push on with. But it does fit like perfectly on there. So I think this is the right size that we want. I almost kind of want to stuff this a little bit, but I need it to not be stuffed all the way to the end. I have a little bit of an idea for that. So hopefully I don't mess it up, but let's see. I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn. And pull this tight, grab my darning needle real quick, and sew that in. So I'm just going to secure this tail. Doing a little knot right here. Pull that tight. And then I'm actually just going to stick this tail down in here because I have an idea that might make this a little bit more sturdy so that I can push it on to the cap easier. Because right now it fits perfectly as far as like the circumference of the lid versus the top of the marker, but it's very, very like floppy and squishy, which makes it hard to push because it wants to just kind of squish. Actually, I'm going to attach this first. I'm going to make my pen top, my marker top first, and see how much space I'm working with inside of that before I go doing anything with that. So here is this, and it's a little bit fuzzy looking at the top because I was messing around with this felt, and this felt is sticky. So I'm just kind of folding this up into there. I'm thinking that I have like my side, you know, where my seams are kind of for color changing. So I want to put the back where you can kind of see. I'm not sure if you can see actually because it's black. But there's a seam where I folded the felt over. You can kind of see right here at the end at the very least, but I'm not sure how well you can see other than that. But I'm going to put that on the back so that you don't see it as much. So, all right, let's just try this out and see what happens. So I'm going to put a dot of, almost said super glue, a hot glue dot. Make sure that my back is facing the right way. Don't mind that little tail of glue. I'll grab that in a second. I'll cut that off with my scissors, but I want to make sure this is on how I want it. Just kind of squishing that down. And then I'll go ahead and take my scissors and trim this little hot glue string. And I'm trimming this little flap off of the felt because I overlapped it in the back. So that is how that came out. I think that looks pretty good. All right, and then I'm gonna do my little dot of hot glue at the top, and I want this to look really good. So I'm gonna do my best to show you, but at the same time I want to Okay, so what I did is I'm going to kind of hold this up in the air while that dries. What I did was I squeezed out a little droplet, but then I just stopped squeezing and let it kind of fall off onto here. And then I slowly raised up and held that in the air and let it dry so that it would stay like pointing up. I'm going to give that a second to dry, and then I'm going to trim it, and I'm going to attempt to Sharpie it black and see how that goes. I've never done this before, but we did something kind of like this when we were doing the terrariums, how I said in my little house tour video that I got on like a terrarium kick. Well, the one that my husband made that was a beach themed terrarium, he made like a little fire pit with like a little fire, I don't know if it's fire pit, but you know, like a little bonfire. That's what I'm trying to say. He made like a little bonfire with some sticks. He broke like little twigs up into pieces and glued them together to like shape like a fire pit, or what do I keep trying to say, fire pit? Like a bonfire. And then we used, we didn't color it, but we used sparkly like red and orange glue. They have like colored glue sticks. And we just literally like made the fire out of the glue, and it came out pretty cool. But I have no idea how it'll go Sharpieing this. I don't know if it'll come out solid colored or if it'll still like be translucent. This kind of looks like a nail, like a little fake acrylic nail or something. Hi, Lincoln. You can't come up here right now, baby. There is nowhere for you up here right now. I'm sorry. He got down on his own. All right, so that's what that's looking like. Let's compare it to the Sharpie. Obviously, it's smaller because Jigglypuff is smaller. But I think that that's like a pretty good, you know, replica of a marker. And let's see about how this fits over it now. Hopefully this is, yeah, I think that's nice and secured. So, oh, you know what? I don't think it needs anything done. So here is our finished microphone. And I will come back momentarily and I will show it to you with Jigglypuff. Okay, here is our attached microphone. I think it came out perfect. I am extremely happy with that. I think the size and everything is so awesome. And it has our removable top and has it looking like a little marker. And then it's super easy to put back on. Trying to do this with one hand while I hold my phone. But yeah, I am super happy with that. So I hope that you guys found that interesting or entertaining. But hopefully it also helped someone. Maybe someone that doesn't like know how to come up with like an idea for something without a pattern. I don't know. I just thought maybe it would be helpful. But I hope you guys at the very least enjoyed. And I hope that you guys like Jigglypuff. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.